Hello students! We have a CrossLap phone stand to make today, and we need a bunch of different supplies to do it. Most important, measuring tape, pencils, wood, and some instructions. So I'm going to be following along just like you are today. So you need a 12-inch piece, so we can make 12 inches just by...
Danielle, if you're in the building, can you please make your way to the office? Danielle, to the office, please.
Making a mark at 12 inches and turning that mark into a line. Lovely. Okay, and we can take that 12 inches to a bandsaw and cut along that line. Noisy today. All right. We'll wait for the tool to spin down. This is my favorite piece of wood that I've purchased all year. I love the weird grooves in the growth lines. On both sides, there's some nice little stabs in there. It'll mean that it'll be slightly harder to work with, but it might look cool in the end. All right, so I now have a 12-inch piece. Okay, we cut our piece, and I'm just going to straighten out that edge because I didn't cut that edge and it is off square, which is going to drive me insane. But that side... oh, it's as near as makes no difference, it feels like. So, if you have a piece of wood that someone other than you cut, or if your bandsaw wasn't exactly accurate, then you can take it to a belt sander. Feels about right. All right, a little straighter. And now I need to measure my phone because if I had placed my phone in the middle of this entire thing, listening to Half of the Way by Wolfpack. So if I put my phone in the middle of that giant thing, it's going to look a little silly. So I want to keep my phone plus an 1/8 of an inch on either side. Sure, why not? So if I cut it to 3, that's going to be a little bit too little. What if I cut it to 3.5? 3.5, does that look good to me? Might look good to you. 3.25? I think that's exactly what I want. So, 3.25 it is. Alright, 3.25. 3.25 from that edge. 3.25 there. 3.25 there. If you're fine with it being full thickness, then you don't need to do this step. But if you are like me, then this might be a good thing to do. Okay, so here we go. Alright, and we take this back to the bandsaw. We'll use this bandsaw this time. Adjust the guard. Oh, alright, there you go. I need to tighten up that Allen key. Yep, perfect. All right. and I want to keep this side, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and leave this line. I'm going to cut on this side of it, because if I make it too skinny, then my phone will look weird. But if I make it a little bit too fat, I can always sand it down. Here we go. So trying to leave the pencil line, but get very close to it. Oh, it looks better. My fingers are getting close to the edge. I'm paying attention to where my fingers are. I'm paying attention to the line. And we get to the end. There we go. And wait for the tool to stop. It stops. And we now have a lovely piece that is... Ooh, appropriate thickness. Cool. So... we now have our piece, and I need to find the center point of this. I just said it was 3 1/4, so I need 3 1/4 cut in half. Ooh, what's the math on that? So you have 3 1/4. Half of 3 is 1 1/2. Half of a quarter is 1/8. So that'd be 4/8, 5/8, 1 5/8. 1 5/8 would be halfway across there. So let's get that measured. From that edge, 1 5/8. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. Does that really seem like the middle to me? Let's see. Yes, absolutely it is. Okay. 1 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/8. Lovely. One more 1 5/8. Lots of measuring, as with everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. And let's put a line down the middle of this bad boy. Okay. Okay, so I now have a center point down the middle of my board. Holy cow. So, I have a 12-inch piece, 3/4 inches thick. I'm still on the first half of the first page. Holy cow, this is nuts. But I have a center line marked out. And I also need to measure 7 inches from the end. Okay. 7 inches from the end. 7 inches from the end. Oh. And I'll cut on that side of it. Alright, use the square to ensure your line is not crooked. Next, you'll cut your material across the line that you marked. Use the bandsaw for this cut. Okay, here I come, bandsaw. I would reset my guard, but I'm the only one in here, so no one else messed it up for me. Trace my line as tightly as I can. Hope you can see well. Oh, man. Heavy button. Okay. I'd call that pretty nice. Love that grain. So bizarre. There was some branches that were growing out of this piece of spruce, pine, or fir. All right, cool. Now I need to mark my lap joint on the short side and on the long side. On the short side, I'm going to make a cross lap joint at 1 1/4 inches from the end. So, whoop. So, 1 1/4 inches in, I'll make a line with a square to make sure that it's nice and straight. Come along. All right, and take this lovely guy and use this piece as a guide, because that is exactly the part that needs to slide through. No, that was the other side, but whatever. So we are going to cut this out. And I'm going to try and keep those lines. I want to keep those lines because if I destroy those lines, I'm going to end up with a piece that is cut thicker than I need, a channel that is cut thicker than I need. So in the end, my lap joint is going to be kind of sloppy, and I want my lap joint to be tight. I don't want it to be so tight that I'm forcing them in. If you end up cutting your lap joint and you're forcing them in, it means that you will need to end up filing. You'll need to file that cut down, or else you'll end up breaking something. Okay, so we got one cut there, and I'm going to cut on this side of the other one because I think it'll be cool if the grain kind of matches up. So on the other side, I'm going to cut there. Just need to be 2 inches up on the long side. Repeat the same process, except it's 2 inches in instead of 1 1/4. So get that line lined up, and 2 inches in is right there. Okay. We're on further away. Okay. Okay, and again, using this piece as a guide, I have line. Oh, let's adjust that again. Just knocked it wobbly. And right. And I'm going to cut that chunk out right there. Okay. So, going to cut those pieces out. Fit them together. My layout is done. My pieces look like this. They sure do. 2 inches there, 1 1/4 there. So, cutting the cross lap. You can cut it with a handsaw if you want, but we're going to cut things with band saws because we like power tools. All right, keep my space clean. Okay, so again, I'm going to try and leave my pencil line, but be as close to it as I can be. Close to my pencil line as possible, without erasing. And make it to the middle. Same thing on the other side. Close to the pencil line as possible without erasing. Close to the pencil line as possible without erasing it. Oh, I think I might have erased that pencil line a little bit. Uh-oh. I hope that guy isn't wobbly. All right, let's do the other one. Close to the pencil line as possible without erasing it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with both those cuts. They both look good. So my next step is to cut out that inner chunk with a coping saw. Okay, so. Oh, what? I thought that I gave the instructions. Ah, that's why people couldn't find it. Okay, the coping saws currently, they might be different in the future because I would like to find a better place for them. But if you're building it right now, they're in the top drawer of this little cabinet over here, a little chest of drawers. Open up the chest of drawers, and we have a whole bunch. So I'll take this guy. That looks like a good number of teeth. So the thinness of this blade allows it to go around corners while you are cutting. I'll cut one with this coping saw and another one with a power tool that does the same job, that has a very thin blade so that you can make very sharp corners with it. Okay, so In order to see, could I cut that way? Not really. So, sorry, you're going to have a bit of an odd view. What I'm doing is I fit the blade in through the channel I've cut, and I'm going to be sawing while I turn the blade so that it will cut across the bottom. If it's not perfect, that's all right. We can file and sand it to be perfect a little bit later. But yes, right now, let's get this started. Come on. All right. So, I'm going to be turning as we get near the bottom. And it looks to me like I've left my line. Again, I hope you guys can see it. And if not, here, I'll take it out because it's pretty well from the top-down view. So I cut the bottom. I'm going to cut the other side. So, nice sharp teeth on that blade. Okay. There you go. Okay. That gets you the idea. I wonder if I cut that too fat. A little bit fatter than I would like. No! Bummer! Okay. Well, that's alright. The power tool that does the same job is this thing. It's called a scroll saw. If you've learned how to use it, then you absolutely can. If this is your first project that would use the scroll saw, make sure that you talk to Mr. Weens to make sure that you receive proper instruction on this. But the blade is, again, very, 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 very thin, even thinner than the coping saw, and which means it can slide in, and you can make a very sharp corner with it. Let's try it again. Hey, stop jumping out of the channel. So, made the corner, and pushing it on home. Okay. And I now have a lap joint. They should both fit into each other nicely. Hey, hey, they do. So there you go. I have a cross lap stand for my phone. Oh, lovely. So there's some tightening things up stuff that I could do. There's a little bit hanging off either edge, and there's a little bit of messiness left in the bottom, especially on that one. So if I was going slowly, well, I guess if I was one of you and had a bunch of time, take the file that little guy out. But as we go at rocket speed, we have the cross lap done, we can cut the bottom. So we want to make, let's see if you can see. We'll stangle you. We want to make that bottom flat with the table that it is sitting on. So if your math is as good as my math was, it should line up so that the square is a perfectly fine line that will get both sides fairly flush with the ground. Absolutely. So, we need to measure that angle. Yours might be different than mine. I helped a student earlier today whose angles were at 35 degrees. This one is at, let's find out. Hey, 35 degrees. Which means this guy should be 55 if I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, lining up that 0. That's pretty darn close to 55 if you ask me. Okay, so 35 is what my thing needs to be at. Okay, we'll take some of these lines and make them longer. There you are, pencil. Come. Okay. So, unless I'm losing my mind, those are the cuts that I need to make. So, I adjusted this before for my student in the last period. I'll take you off my head so I can show you what it looks like. You can ask Mr. Wien's help with this, but that little guy down there is telling you at which angle the table is at when compared to the blade. You adjust it by loosening one knob, 2 knobs, 3 knobs, lifting up the table, tightening, tightening, tightening. It's easiest with a couple of people, but you can absolutely do that on your own. But there's enough people around that asking for help is a good thing. Okay, back on my head you go. Yeah, right. Should probably check my phone to see that you can see what I see again, but you want to be careful with lining up your cuts. Yeah, I'm not losing my mind. I need to cut this guy along that line, and the other one is going to be a really weird cut because it's 35 degrees from that face of the wood, so I need to push it through like that. So lots of push sticks, lots of slow going, and oh, there's my push stick. Lots of push sticks, lots of slow going, and it will look beautiful if we cross our fingers. So it's just like all the other cuts on the bandsaw, except for this one. Be careful of your fingers. Make sure they're not accidentally at the bottom where they can get cut as well. I'm paying attention to all of my fingers. You can see all 4 of them up there. Big red button. Okay. And I believe we might be into finish sanding then. All right. Ooh, that looks real straight. I'm proud of me. Good job, me. So, I have a lap joint. I have mitered bottoms. I have marked the legs. Oh, drilled out a cable hole. And I was just like, oh, we're on to finish sanding. Not quite. Okay, so right in the middle and just up from the edge, it says 3/8 of an inch, or if you know what size your charging cable is, you can bring that in, and on this same little guy you can say 3/8. Oh, that's gonna fit in like no one's business. I could even make it as small as 5/16. Whoa, that's gonna look so sweet. So I'm gonna try 5/16. Come on. There we go. Okay. Again, if I were taking my time, I would absolutely clean that up so that these would fit in perfectly before I do this. But I'm going to get that straight across there. Cool. So I want this to be right in the center as well. So right on there. And I want to make sure that it is far enough forward and that it'll actually fit my charging port. Or else that would be bad news. So I could do a bunch more careful measuring. 5/16. What's the... How far away from the edge does my charging port need to be? That is exactly 1/4 of an inch. So I'll err on the side of caution a bit and go 3/8 and from the edge. There you are. And put that hole in. Okay, I want it exactly right there. I'm gonna put it on a piece of scrap so that I don't drill a hole in my table, and so that I'm properly supporting it from the bottom and all angles. Hey, hey! What a tidy little hole. Then my charger fits through. That lines up with this guy. That lines up with my phone. Get plugged in. There we go. And we are then on to sanding and finishing. So, sanding, sand the whole thing down with 100, 180, 220, and then get into finishing. I would definitely oil sand this. And you know what? In looking at this, I don't like this cable sitting all the way there. You know what? Maybe I could feed the cable through there and then through the back too. Hey, I can make this project even better just by thinking. So, going through the bottom, let's say there-ish. If I put it there, that's enough space. I think that's gonna look cool. Okay, so I now have a cable that goes through there, makes a sharp corner. Joint goes through there. Hey, look at that. Man, that's pretty. All right, I could even put it through the other side so that it can go straight out the back too. Ooh. Entirely not necessary, but if you're like me, something that would interest you. 1/4 plus 1/8. Pencil goes on walks all the time. Alright. Point. Going in right there. Alright. Now I cross my fingers that all of these angles make sense and that I'm not losing my mind. Ho ho! Through one hole. Through a second hole. Through a third hole. A lovely charging station for my telephone. Not bad at all. I can even plug this in to make sure it works. Ha-ha! Beautiful. Ta-da! So, after this, it is just finish sanding and then actually finishing that I will put together in another little video. And you will have a lap jointed phone stand built and beautiful. So, hope you enjoyed it. Good luck. Goodbye. After a little bit of sanding, that side is nice and smooth. That side is nice and smooth. Still missed by about 1 millimeter, as tight as that needs to be. But there you go. Sanded and ready for finishing.